What's up and welcome back. I'm Tad Hamilton, and you've just won a date with me. Aren't you lucky? Yeah, we're gonna write a movie about this one day. It's, it's gonna be about winning a date with Tad Hamilton. Uh, this is the 25th anniversary celebration. Thanks for checking out this review. 20th anniversary. I made this movie older than it is. I'm John Stark from MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this movie was on Netflix with audio description, and it's celebrating a 20th anniversary, and I've been doing a lot of anniversary releases. I also ask the important questions like, does this film stand the test of time? And I'm going to go with no. I think most people don't know this film exists. I think the only reason anybody will know is because it's on Netflix. I think it didn't really perform well at the box office when it first came out. So it might have a couple fans who, really like rom-coms and they've thrown this in the mix. But even the cast isn't really that strong. So it's got actually really strong, sort of widespread cast. But it's not like for people who are like, I'm Julia Roberts fan and I've seen every Julia Roberts movie ever made. And I love all of them. It's not like that. It's like, I don't think there are like a lot of people who are like, my favorite actress is Kate Bosworth, and I've seen everything she's ever done. I really love Topher Grace. I follow all of his work. It's not one of those films where that kind of stands out. But so let's talk about Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. It stars, as I mentioned, Kate Bosworth, Topher Grace, Josh Duhamel. But also, interestingly, in the supporting cast, you've got some heavy hitters who were not quite as big then as they are today, like Agatha herself, Catherine Hahn. We've got Octavia Spencer. We've got Nathan Lane and Sean Hayes play Tad's manager and agent, who both have the same name, which is hilarious. Supposed to be, anyway. Um, so what is this movie about? It's about, uh, small town life. I can't remember where this town is, like Harper's Fall or Hogwarts Follows or something like that. It's something, I don't know, hot dog found. I don't know. It's like an HF, Holler Faller, uh, in West Virginia. And it's where Kate Bosworth and Topher Grace's characters, they work at a Piggly Wiggly, which is a real thing, by the way. Those were real stores, Piggly Wiggly. So good use of an actual brand instead of making up some store where they're like, oh, we work at Max's. Who's Max? I don't know, but we work at his store, grocery store. It's a local grocery store in our small town of 500 people. Um, so Topher's the manager, and Kate is like a checkout lady, but Topher is, I guess, above her. They're friends. We're not really given a whole lot of context, but it's like when you're friends with people at work, and I don't know. It's just it's a weird way that they're introduced as characters because we're not shown them outside of the work thing at the beginning, where it's like, oh, we're friends, not at work. We've always been friends since we were like 10, just great friends. Like, we don't get that. And this film desperately needs it. And we'll talk about that because I'm not a huge fan of Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. And then on the other side of it, we have Josh Duhamel, who plays Tad Hamilton, who is like just so sexy, so hot. He's like the Timothy Chalamet of his day. For those of you who are like, I don't understand this. I like to say, that he's the Brad Pitt of his day, but I don't know. Children may watch this and they'd be like, I don't know. That old man used to be. Yes, there was a phenomenon called Brad Pitt. It came about one day, and many people were very hot and bothered by Brad Pitt. They even forgave him for his accent in The Devil's Own, because they were like, well, he's pretty. So um, that's when you know you're really pretty, is when you can do a really bad accent and everybody just goes, it's okay. He's nice to look at. So Josh Duhamel is here, hot off of, what was it, Las Vegas that got him his gig? I think he was in Las Vegas, the TV show with James Caan. Topher Grace obviously coming, striking out in into the film atmosphere with that 70s show, stardom behind him, and Kate Bosworth. This is around the time when they're trying to make Kate Bosworth happen. Blue Crush is happening, so this is her rise. She'll do Beyond the Sea with Kevin Spacey after this. So this is sort of her phase of, can we make Kate Bosworth the next It Girl? We'll find out. To be fair, this really wasn't a great movie to try that with. But Josh Duhamel is sort of a dumpster fire, and he needs, image rehabilitation. So they come up with this weird thing where girls can enter to win. Yes, let's check out the Bechdel test on this one, where girls can win an opportunity to date Tad Hamilton, where he can sign up. And I know this is one of those things where, like, secretly everybody would judge it and they'd be like, I don't want to. And I promise you, secretly, half those people would have somebody that they would sign up for a contest for. I'm not going to say it's Timothée Chalamet, but you know that there is someone that if it was win a date with blank, you would absolutely sign up for it. If for no other reason than to say that you did it. And that goes really for guys too, and gay men, and lesbians. Everybody has somebody that I think we would win a date with blank. So it's really not that gross of a premise, because I think there's somebody for everybody. I think there's a celebrity that secretly everybody wants to meet. And if there was a chance to do that, would you, you know? And you might be somebody sitting there, it's not me. I'm really high. I don't know. Pick your highbrow celebrity. It doesn't have to be a movie actor. It could be a singer, could be an author, but there's somebody who you would enter a contest to go out on the town with. with that, not necessarily like the promise of anything. Nothing happens after this date. She just goes home. So, except he doesn't. He's like, wait a minute, what happened? Am I becoming a good person? And he's like, wow, I need this. He's kind of blown away by her goodness. She wins this contest and they go out, and she's just tripping all over her words, and he's genial, but yeah, he just sits around and smokes all the time, and he's basically vapid. The only useful thing Topher Grace makes a joke about is like, if he says he's not really into sports, he's just trying to have sex with you. And that if he says he really loves animals, he's just trying to have sex with you. And of course, those two things happen. So, she has this interesting night. So she thinks, and he's like, you want to come in for a drink? Like, and she's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm gonna go. I don't want to come in for a drink. So she doesn't go in for a drink. She just leaves, and that's the end of that. But Tad Hamilton just can't get enough. So he flies out to West Virginia, checks into a shitty hotel where the manager is really interested in him. And is that, if you need anything at all, please stop by this front office. I love when he's like, do you have any sweets maybe that I could check? And he's like, I got a lolly up here in the front office if you'd like to come up and get a lolly. That's the front desk clerk for this small town West Virginia hotel. So, but yet Nathan Lane and Sean Hayes are here, and they get to play perfectly, reasonably funny and normal characters. Meanwhile, I don't know who that is, gets to play this bizarre front desk clerk. So I got a lolly. I bet you do. uh, so but so Tad is he continues to date her, which she continues to do, and of course the film also has this, it has this side plot because it has to. So it's a love triangle, and there's Topher Grace, and he's a really fucking sad person in this movie. He's about to go off to college, and he's pined after Kate Bosworth forever without ever actually like telling her. And I hate this. I hate this subplot. I hate Topher Grace in this movie at all. And the fact, and this is why the movie doesn't work for me, because A, he's her boss, and the film doesn't ever establish the fact that, like, from the beginning, like, what is their life like outside of work? It keeps fucking showing them in work. So it's like your manager is creeping on you and doesn't like the fact that you're dating another guy. That's what it feels like to me. And it's icky and it's gross. And I hate Topher Grace in this movie. So when Tad Hamilton starts like changing his ways, you actually are rooting for him, but you know that fucking Topher Grace is right there, and you know where this movie's going to end up. You know that at the end of the day, Topher Grace is going to end up with the girl, because why not? You know, she's gonna like not want to, I don't know, go to Hollywood, or she'll find some reason, right? You're sitting the whole time going, what is her reason gonna be for choosing Topher Grace, who seems like the worst decision anybody could possibly make, and also not really a great character for like women to choose. Be like, hey, do you want to date your boss who secretly has had a crush on you this whole time? Uh, you know, he even has this scene with Catherine Hahn, who plays a bartender in this, where she's, he still hasn't had the courage. It's more like, I don't know, like at least 2/3 of the way through the movie, I still think he hasn't told her. And he's like trying to work up the courage to tell her. And he's sitting with Catherine Hahn, and he's like, oh God, I don't know. I mean, she just loves Tad Hamilton, I mean, and she's like, and Catherine Hahn's advice is basically, well, everybody has a Tad Hamilton, and it, we don't, doesn't mean you shouldn't take your shot. We don't always end up with Tad Hamilton, and she tells him, "You're my Tad Hamilton," and he just fucking walks away. It's like, that was her way, like he's sitting here. I was thinking, like, I was like, God, I hate this movie, because he's sitting here like being the creepy manager friend person, and he's like, oh God, how do I tell somebody that I love them? I wish I could work up the courage. And meanwhile, this inspirational bartender gives him this great speech that inspires him to go forth, young man. And in that speech, it's also her finally having the courage to tell him that he is her Tad Hamilton, that she loves him. And he just kind of walks away. He doesn't even really address it. He's not like, he's just kind of like, oh, thanks. Like, like, oh, that's cute. I was like, fucking Topher Grace in this movie is so obnoxious. So, I'm surprised it's on Netflix. I'm surprised we're still kind of like pushing this film around. There were other films that came out in 2004 that's like, could we put them on Netflix? There was some really good like indie dramas, like The Door on the Floor with Jeff Bridges and Kim Basinger. That was really good. Can we maybe put that up there? I'd love to get some audio description on that, celebrate its 20th anniversary. So this is more out there for like the, are you a win a date with Tad Hamilton fan? If so, please let me know why, because I'd love to know why you think Kate Bosworth should end up with Topher Grace and not Josh Duhamel. Why this film shouldn't have taken the trajectory and just leaned into she reforms his image and he becomes like a classy celebrity, like a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he actually like transforms into the kind of person, instead of he's no longer Hollywood's bad boy, he's just a dude, with a nice girlfriend. Like, why couldn't that have been the movie? That somebody is so inherently good that just being around them makes you a better person. I think that's a much better message than my manager's creeping on me. And when somebody pours her heart out to him, he just is like, "Oh, cool, thanks. Bye. Bye." Just, he's the worst written character. Easily one of the worst written characters, I think, of the 2000s. Like, I keep thinking about Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, and I'm like, this doesn't work at all. No wonder this movie didn't make any money at the box office. People saw it, they were like, why? Wait, she chooses. And it's not that I don't like Topher Grace. I love Topher Grace. Um, and I got like really deep into the weeds when he did the Black Klansman film when he was asked to play just like a really sort of like horrible real life person, and listening to him talk about it and what that like did to him, like he needed something else to focus on, so he like re-edited, I think like the Lord of the Rings trilogy or something like that. He just sat at his computer and like edited, or The Hobbit or something like that, and he made like his own like director's cut, like his not like a fan cut, I guess, of the film. Um, which to me was like fascinating, that he needed something else to focus on, because when he had to suddenly go be charmingly racist, he just like it wasn't who he was. So it just bothered him so much that he needed like some distraction from that. So he chose something sort of like weird and mundane. Uh, but yeah, this, and again, it's got a really nice supporting cast. I can love Nathan Lane, seeing him pop up in things. It's great. And Sean Hayes and Octavia Spencer before she was ever in The Help. She used to get a lot of like really small roles, so it's nice to even see her get mentioned, because a lot of times the things she just kind of stands there. You'll find like, I know us as blind people, we can't actually just see Octavia Spencer, but she has a lot of roles where you can just kind of like look and be like, that's Octavia Spencer. She's not really credited with anything. She just kind of plays somebody who's like standing there in the background. She's a lot of those roles. Melissa McCarthy did too. She played a lot of roles where her name definitely didn't pop up at the front of the film before, definitely before Gilmore Girls. So it's always fun to find those roles. I always think about um, the little brief scene in You've Got Mail, and the cashier is Sarah Ramirez. I'm just like, there's all these little people and things, and they just kind of pop up, and they're like, wait a minute, that person went on to do something. um, it's cute. Anyway, this movie's not though. Audio description's fine. I don't have a problem with the audio description. I thought, especially considering I've seen this film before, I didn't feel like it didn't tie anything. There is sort of a weird, sort of like classic look that it's trying to do here by having like things like a Piggly Wiggly and that small town feel. It does kind of feel like it's a modern film, but it does have sort of this like we're stepping back in time feel to it. Almost like Josh Duhamel has traveled into Pleasantville, but he hasn't really. He hasn't really stepped into Pleasantville. He's just stepped into a small town life and sort of the simplicity of that. But I don't know. I think this is a forgettable movie, and I'm going to celebrate its 20th anniversary, but I don't think many people are going to thank you for clicking on this and being like, oh my God, I'm a fan of Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, to find out that I'm not a fan of Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. So I think she makes the wrong choice, which is kind of revealing of where, I mean, based on everything I've talked about. But I mean, it's not like that they do have to pull back on Tad Hamilton, to be honest, a little bit. They have to, he can't be perfect. So they find ways. And I'm saying like the film needed to, somewhere in the writing phase, somebody needed to say, does she really need to end up with Topher Grace? Like, can we just like, can we tweak Tad Hamilton so that he actually, uh, so that the audience is okay with this? I mean, I know that's not like a great thing. It's like, oh, you win a date with celebrity and maybe you'll end up marrying them or something like that. Also, not a great thing. But the other option is maybe you'll end up dating your boss. It's like, I don't know. It's just not. And he does play the boss card, by the way. He tries to like keep her at work, so she doesn't go date Tad Hamilton. It's icky. So I'm not here for it. Um, and yeah, not all anniversaries are good ones. But yeah, 20 years ago, Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. So I'm gonna give Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. I'm gonna give it a C minus. I think it's like a functionally serviceable romantic comedy in some ways. Like some of it works, and there's definitely a cast here that shows up. But I think it makes all the wrong choices, and it's really hard to get on board with that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.